On this episode, we're going to be talking about my favorite books and podcasts. Welcome to the Photography Business Mastery for Moms podcast. This podcast is designed specifically for moms who are passionate about photography and entrepreneurship. If you're a mom with a photography business, striving to achieve balance between growing your business and spending quality time with your family, you're in the right place. In each episode, we delve into the strategies, tips, and insights tailored to help you thrive in both your professional and personal life. From marketing techniques to time management hacks, we provide tangible information to help you scale your photography business while prioritizing your family. Join us as we explore how to navigate the unique challenges and joys of being a mompreneur in the photography industry. Let's empower each other to achieve success and fulfillment in both our businesses and families. So right now in this season of life, I am listening to a lot of podcasts. It's just easier to be able to focus on a podcast than sitting and actually reading a book. Now, if I do read a book, it is an Audible book. I have also done the purchase the Kindle version and listen to the book at the same time. That is a proven fact that ADHD people pay more attention when they're listening and they're reading at the same time. For me, with like taking notes during class or during when I'm listening to a podcast, will really have it stick in my brain as well. So that is one thing. If it's like a really interesting book, especially a business book, I will either purchase the Kindle version and then you get like the Audible version for a lesser price, or vice versa if they offer that. So starting with podcast. Right now, I'm really loving the Heart and Hustle podcast. The hosts are Evie and Lindsay, and they are past photographers who are now entrepreneurs. They host multiple courses online, and then they have an in-person conference at least once, if not twice a year. What I really love about their podcast is they're mothers and they're photography business owners. They do all of these different types of courses and content for photographers and for mom entrepreneurs. Very relatable. I love their podcast as well because it's not just business. But I also recently learned about another podcast called M is for Mama. And that one is more for the mom who is having maybe a hard time and need to look further into how to make it a positive experience as a mom. I literally just learned about that yesterday, and it really opened up my heart to a lot of things. One thing I do is I don't dwell on the negative, but I really get deep into the negative parts of motherhood, and I don't look at the positive aspects just because of the season I'm in. I am sleep deprived. I have 3 kids. The baby is barely sleeping at night. So it's really hard to look at the positive aspects of that. But one thing I did take away from M is for Mama podcast is instead of thinking about when is my baby going to sleep through the night, is that the amount of times that I'm waking up is because I'm nourishing him to grow and to be a bigger baby and to nourish him through life. So that is one thing that I kind of turned my mind around a little bit on motherhood, and I'm taking it in a more positive light. The other one is the Jasmine Star Show. So Jasmine Star is a former photographer who turned into an entrepreneur and did digital courses and online programs. I really love her because A, she's a mother as well, and B, she's teaching me about business in general. I'm taking a lot of aspects of what she does for online businesses and turning it into my own business. And she's very open and honest about a lot of things. She gives a ton of value with any podcast that you listen to. So I highly recommend her show as well. The Goal Digger Show. If you are an entrepreneur, a mom, photographer, you know Jenna Kutcher. You see her ads all the time on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. She is everywhere. I love her content as well. I love that she was a former photographer, turned into an online entrepreneur, and she's goals. She is goals in life. I love her content. I think she's very relatable as well. And I love that she shares a little bit about family and business too. Online Marketing Made Easy by Amy Porterfield. So Amy Porterfield is really good at giving value, and then she just gives. And then when you're ready for her services, she's there for you. And that's exactly what happened to me this past year. So she does online digital courses. She teaches you how to do them, how to record them, how to market them. And it's an expensive course. And it's always been on like my to-do list or like something to look into. And this past September, she only opens it once a year. She's doing all the content, she's doing the podcast, she's doing the ads, and just kept seeing it in my feed. And it was like, okay, this is time. It's time to do this. So I purchased her digital course academy, and there's so much content in it. And that is helping me get photography business mastery for moms up. And I'm excited to get that up. And Amy is helping me do that. The next podcast is Called to Both by Joy Michelle. I actually really love her podcast. If I ever need just like a little podcast to listen to and really learn something, this is a podcast that is super, super relatable. So obviously it's called to both being a mother and being a business owner, helping others, teaching others. And that is how I feel as well. I can't take the title. I love her show. I think it's very relatable for moms and entrepreneurs. But I would also send you back to M is for Mama if you are more on the religious side for motherhood. Call to Both is religious as well, but M is for Mama is definitely more on the scriptures and Bible verses. Of course, my podcast, Photography Business Mastery for Moms. I'm loving doing this podcast for you guys, and I hope that you're loving the content as well. 2 male podcasts. So most of these, all the rest of the podcasts were all female podcasts. So I really love those. But 2 male podcasts that I really love is a Gary V Experience. I'm sure you have seen him all over TikTok and Instagram. The Gary V Experience really talks about following your path, doing what you want to do, block out the negativity, don't listen to others, and you're really not in the thick of it until you get into like your 30s and 40s, like it doesn't matter. People think about you. That is one podcast that really got me motivated to really start working more in my photography business. And the other one is Content is Profit by Biz Bros. So I really love this one because content is profit. They talk about how you can turn your content into profit, how to really put out a hook for your content, for how to make your content, going from podcasts to smaller versions and smaller content platforms. So that one is really, really good for any type of content. So books for moms and entrepreneurs, I really highly recommend Chill and Prosper by Denise. I'm going to say the last name wrong. DeField Thomas. She also has another book called Chillpreneur, which I really loved. I probably read those 2 books 2 years ago, and I could absolutely listen to them again. It really talks about motherhood, outsourcing. It's okay to outsource in your home and in your business, which is part of Photography Business Mastery for Moms, because I think it is very, very important that we talk about those things. And I got a lot of my inspiration from Denise. Another good series is by Donald Miller. I'm sure you've heard of Story Brand. That I started with, but I kind of got a little bored with it, honestly. But then he came out with Marketing Made Simple. It's literally made simple. He also has a new one called Small Business Made Simple. So those are like exactly what they say. And I highly recommend as an entrepreneur in any business to listen to those books. This one might be a smidge controversial. It's Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. So this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, definitely pre-pandemic. So 5, 6 years ago, when she had the movie come out, and a bunch of us photography friends, we went out and watched it, and she was very inspirational, but for some reason she got canceled. I'm not sure exactly why. I know she's back. I do listen to her podcast. Sometimes it's just not on my list. It's more of like, if there's nothing else on, unfortunately, but it's the truth. But I do really like that book because she really talks about your authenticity and like just go and do what you dream and what you want to do. Don't worry about what other people think. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is also a little controversial, but I do agree with this book. Basically, if you are doing 1 day of social media, 10X that. Really up your social media, do as much as you possibly can so that you can really bring in those clients. Business Boutique by Christy Wright. She was one of the first Audible books that I listened to, and she is part of the Ramsey group, the Dave Ramsey, and all the budgeting and, not having debt and all of that stuff. That is something I will not be talking about, but I like that she talked about a lot of tactics of how to bring in clients, how to nurture your clients. And it can be for service-based or actual brick and mortar businesses. A really great one is Everything is Figure Outable by Marie Forleo. So I'm sure you've seen her content as well. She's all over social media. She does her business boot camp. I think it's business boot camp. But basically, she goes over the steps of how to start a business with that online program. And what I like about Everything is Figure Outable is like you can start your business and it's figure outable. It doesn't need to be all said and done before you like start posting about your business. You're going to figure it out. And I like the confidence that she gives you with that book. And the most important book that I have read, which I still implement into my business to this day, is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. It is such a good book. I first purchased the Audible version and then I purchased the book because there was so much content in it. But basically, what it teaches is having multiple bank accounts so that you can delegate your money so that you don't forget about something. And I started this book because I forgot about sales tax one year and I was down like $600. And I was like, where am I going to get this money from? So having those separate bank accounts and delegating that money to those separate bank accounts is going to help you in the long run so you don't forget about something. So at one point, I had 9 bank accounts. In our local bank, they're free bank accounts. So it doesn't matter how much you have in it. It's just that you're active. So I have right now a kids tuition savings account, regular business account, nanny account. Yes, all these accounts. And I'm still going to go. Sales tax, personal tax, Santa sessions, additional gallery purchases come through this account, and then I delegate it where it needs to go, a savings account, and a product account. The reason why I have a product account is because some clients wait a little while to design their albums or their products. So I put that cost of good into that account so I don't forget about it. And then I have to purchase it from my own money, technically, you know? So these are just a few of my favorite podcasts and books. I hope you enjoy. This episode is sponsored by HoneyBook. HoneyBook is the all-in-one business management platform to make your journey even smoother as a photographer. Whether it's managing your clients, sending contracts, or tracking payments, HoneyBook has you covered, leaving you more time to focus on what truly matters in your life. Check out our affiliate link in the description to get yourself 50% off your first year.